All right, guys. So Chelsea Clinton, who is not known for literally anything except being the daughter of former President Bill Clinton and political criminal Hillary Clinton. Okay, she has chimed in on what is going on in modern day politics. Right, she's speaking out. She went on a View to discuss Lindsey Graham's opposition and the Republicans' opposition to Biden's affirmative action Supreme Court nominee, Miss Ketanji Brown Jackson, who has a history of being lenient on certain issues, right? That has got her in some hot water, right? That is now in the public eye. So, with that being said, she's going to discuss this again with The View. And during this conversation, she's going to make fat jokes about President Trump and also claim that the Republican Party is the party of white supremacists. Take a look.
The historical significance of the first black woman is huge, and it's incredibly disappointing to me that people who have voted in these historical moments before, listen, in 2009, Sotomayor got 68 votes, including Lindsey Graham. In 93, RBG, appointed by your dad, got 93 votes, including Mitch McConnell and Chuck Grassley. In 81, Sandra Day O'Connor got 99 votes.
That was before Trump, Trump divided the country.
They're still living with the consequences of the 2016 election. So when you're talking about elections have consequences, like Lindsey Graham is still living with the consequences of the 2016 election when Donald Trump ate the Republican Party. He ate the Republican Party. And
he did put on some weight, you're right.
And so Lindsey Graham is still living under that specter, under that shadow, or maybe in Donald Trump's belly.
Yeah,
in his belly.
It's so true.
I think so.
I mean, Anna and I have this argument all the time. I always say, why are you still a Republican?
Why are you still a Catholic? You don't agree with everything about the Catholic Church?
Yes, but the Catholic Church did not try to destroy democracy in this country. That's very, very different. We're talking about a political party that doesn't even exist anymore.
What party was Abraham Lincoln?
Your party.
The Republican Party.
Of course, there was been a change.
Who helped pass the Voters Registration
Anna, what you have
Act
to understand is the Republican Party that you loved doesn't exist anymore.
No, but I'm
it's the party of insurrectionists. It's the party of traitors. It's what was that?
White supremacists.
White supremacists. It's not the party that you love.
What you don't understand is that no matter how much you want it to happen, the Republican Party is not going to disappear. And so in my mind, what we need to do is have two strong, healthy parties competing for your vote and my vote.
You're the only non-loca in the party at this point.
That's not true.
Anna, what are you running? What are you running?
I have zero intention of running, but I'm not the only non-loca. There's a lot of people who are supporting people like Liz Cheney, like Mitt Romney, like Adam Kinzinger,
Lauren Boebert.
Can I submit also that Ben Sass is another hypocrite who also plays the game, and then he's voting against
hypocrites.
Judge Ketanji
The party of
Jackson.
hypocrites. So also,
let me say something that I think we really need to talk about. That because of Will Smith, Clarence Thomas should be sending Will Smith a thank you gift, because what we should have been talking about all week is the fact that Clarence Thomas needs to recuse himself from any case involving
Your wish could come true in the next segment. We'll be right.
All right, guys. So, I find it amazing, right, how Chelsea Clinton can sit here and talk about Lindsey Graham and Republicans still, I guess, living in the shadow of the 2016 election in regards to why they're opposed to Ketanji Brown Jackson being on the Supreme Court. And saying that, that still has an effect on them, right? And this person is literally the daughter of the Democrat presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton, who lost to Trump and still to this day is crying about the fact that she lost.
Taking her in my arms and saying, look at me, listen to me. You will survive. You will have a good family of your own and 3 children. And as hard as it might be to imagine, your daughter will grow up and become the president of the United States.
Yeah. So if you were to talk about anybody living in Trump's belly, I think Hillary is the main person living there, okay? She has set up shop in there, okay? She feeds off of Trump's bacteria in his stomach, right? That's what is happening, okay? Because she still has not gotten over the 2016 election. That's why she's still talking about it to this day, okay? A election that she, by the way, has conspiracies about, right? That she's pushed about why she lost, right? Everything outside of the fact that people just didn't like her, okay? So again, I find it fascinating how Chelsea Clinton is sitting here talking about politicians that still haven't necessarily got over the 2016 election or haven't necessarily coped with the consequences of the 2016 election to this day. Okay, I find that to be very, very, very interesting. I also find it interesting how she accuses the Republican Party of being the party of white supremacists. And I would ask the question to Ms. Chelsea, what do you mean by that? What policy specifically have the Republicans enacted that is a white supremacist policy? Okay, because I can tell you, Democrats, talking about history, throughout the years, I can say that the Democrats have been the party of slavery, KKK, segregation, Jim Crow, right? And you're talking about white supremacy. All those things that Democrats historically have supported, okay, that is just a fact. They supported slavery, they supported KKK, they supported segregation, they supported Jim Crow. Those are all the white supremacist thing. So I'm just saying, if you want to go down that route, we can go down that route. Again, because, historically, this is factually speaking, Democrats have literally supported white supremacists. I mean, you have the sitting Democrat president of the United States, Joe Biden, who has a picture with Robert Byrd, the U.S. senator that literally filibustered the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Okay, this guy was in the Klan at one point, right? So Biden, the Democrat president, has pictures of himself with former Klans members. Okay, I'm just saying, if you want to go down this route, we can go down this route. Okay, but see, Democrats, their modern day definition of white supremacists are not people who actually, are white supremacists. It's people that disagree with them, right? Anybody who disagrees with Democrats is a white supremacist, according to them, right? But when we talk about the modern day Democrat Party and what they stand for, I would say that they stand for something that, in my opinion, could be even worse than the racism that they used to stand for. Because in today's time, the Democrat Party stands for a party of people that want to sexualize children, right? That want to indoctrinate children in certain sexual and gender ideology. They're literally fighting to have kids learn about sexual orientation and gender identity in school, right? That's literally what they're fighting for. They're also fighting for kids' rights to castrate themselves without their parents' consent. That's also what they're fighting for. The modern day Democrat Party is fighting for some of the worst things that I can even think of, okay? And that's why I find it so funny how these people come out here and try to act like, oh, the Republican Party is evil, right? Evil. Okay, they're the party of white supremacists and insurrectionists, which, I don't believe is true. I think that the Democrat Party is actually the party of white supremacists and insurrectionists. But even if you gave them that, let's just say the Republican Party is the party of white supremacists and insurrectionists. Fine, I would much rather be the party of white supremacists and insurrectionists than the party of people who want to push sexual indoctrination on kindergartners, right? I would much rather, again, be the party of that than what the Democrats currently stand for. And then at the end, Anna Navarro wants to talk about Clarence Thomas and basically saying that he should recuse himself from the January 6th court cases, okay, because he's compromised by his wife. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with that, basically in a nutshell, Clarence Thomas's wife has opinions about the election that you're not supposed to have, and she shared those opinions with somebody inside the White House. I believe it was the Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows. Now, because of that, they're saying that Clarence Thomas, because, he loves his wife and he's communicated in the past that he basically talks to his wife about everything, that he needs to recuse himself from the January 6th cases because his wife's beliefs, right? That's what they're saying. Now, I find it fascinating how they want to focus on this because, again, before in the past, they told us that when it comes to family members of politicians, elected officials, people that are in office, that we shouldn't worry about the things they do because they're not the ones that are actually in power, okay? And they should be off limits. That's what they told us about Hunter Biden, right? That's what they told us about Hunter Biden. But again, lo and behold, The View wants to talk about Clarence Thomas, but Clarence Thomas is not actually under investigation for anything. He's not an investigation for anything. And the reason why they want to talk about it is because of something that his wife said, but they don't want to talk about Hunter Biden, who is actually under investigation by the federal government, okay, for multiple things, including potentially selling his father's influence abroad for his own business dealings. And in my opinion, Joe Biden could potentially be caught up in it. Okay, who's the big guy, right? Did Joe Biden know about this? I'm pretty sure he did. In my opinion, I think he did. And if he did, that's kind of a big deal considering how he was vice president. So I'm just saying, in my opinion, I think that's a much more important conversation than the Clarence Thomas and January 6th stuff, because the whole January 6th stuff is just a political show. That's all it is at this point. Okay, what is happening with Hunter Biden is actually a real investigation by the Department of Justice, right? But they don't want to talk about that for whatever reason. I haven't seen a segment in which they've discussed this ongoing investigation by the Department of Justice. Even CNN has talked about it. And CNN was the main people saying there was a Russian disinformation campaign when it first came out. So again, I find it fascinating here how The View loves to only talk about things that fit the liberal viewpoint. Right? They want to talk about Clarence Thomas, a non-story, and something I can deem as racist. I can say is racist because they say that any criticism of Ketanji Brown Jackson is racist, right? So why not say that any criticism of Clarence Thomas is racist? He's black too, right? But they don't really consider Clarence Thomas to be black because he doesn't have the right opinions, right? He doesn't have the right opinions, so it's open season on Clarence Thomas, but you can't talk about Ketanji Brown Jackson. If you talk about her, you're a racist, sexist bigot, okay? That's what they say. Right. So, yeah, I found that conversation from Chelsea Clinton to be pretty ironic, considering who her mother is and what the Democrat Party actually stands for. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.